Hello everyone and welcome back to another lesson. In this lesson, I'm going to teach you some English words to describe kitchen utensils. Now, before we begin the lesson, please do not forget to subscribe to this channel. And if you like the content of this lesson, then give the video a thumbs up and share the video with your friends and family. Thank you. Now, let us begin. The first word is plate. Plate. A plate is a container that you use to serve food. After you have cooked your food, you put the food in a plate and then you can begin eating. So a plate is a container that is used to serve food. It is usually flat and round. Okay? The next word is knife. Knife. Now, if you want to cut the meat into small pieces, you use a knife. If you want to cut potatoes into small pieces, you use a knife. If you want to slice the bread, then you use a bread knife. So a knife is what we use to cut different types of foods into small pieces before you cook them. For example, potatoes, meat, chicken, and usually a knife needs to be very sharp, because if it's not sharp, then it costs a lot of energy to cut through into what you're trying to cut through. So it's good to sharpen your knife before you begin using it. The next word is bowl. Bowl. Now, this is a deep container which we use, for example, to serve soup. It is usually a small, deep container which we use to serve soup. It looks a little bit like a cup, but it is wider and deep. If you want to serve soup, then you pour the soup inside the bowl. And from there, you can begin eating your soup with a spoon. The next word is cooker. Cooker. Now, to cook your food, you use a cooker. You light your cooker and then you begin cooking your food. Now, there are two types of cookers. You have an electric cooker which uses electricity, and you have a gas cooker which uses gas. You turn it on, you turn the gas on, and then you light the cooker with a matchbox. Okay, the next one is vegetable peeler. Vegetable peeler. You use this to peel your vegetables. For example, carrots. If you want to remove the skin, then you use a vegetable peeler. Some people use a vegetable peeler to peel potatoes. If you want to remove the skin on the potatoes, then you use a peeler to remove the skin. So, a vegetable peeler is used for peeling different types of vegetables. In other words, to remove the skin from different types of vegetables. The next one is microwave. Microwave. We use a microwave to heat up food. You have already cooked your food, and later on the food has cooled down, and you don't want to use the cooker to heat up all the food. Instead, you put some food on the plate and then you put it inside a microwave for a specific time, maybe 2 minutes or 3 minutes. You set it on and then you heat up your food. Okay? So a microwave is a piece of equipment that is used to warm up food. The next word is garlic press. Garlic press. A garlic press is what we use to smash garlic into paste. So, you have peeled your garlic, and now you have a number of small garlic balls, and you want to smash them into paste. So what you do is you get hold of your garlic press, you open it, and then you put the small pieces of garlic there, and with your hands you press the garlic press down, and from another part of the garlic press comes out the garlic you have just smashed into paste. Okay? The next word is pan. A pan. Now, you use a pan to fry different types of things or foods in the kitchen. For example, if you want to cook an egg, you will use a pan. If you want to fry, for example, small pieces of potatoes or potato fries, you will use a pan. You will put some cooking oil in the pan, and then you're going to put the small pieces of potato chips inside there, and then you fry them. So a pan is a container that is made of silver. It is flat and it has a handle. Okay, it has a handle, and we use it mainly to fry things. Now, the next word is pot. Pot. Now, this is a container that we use to boil things. If you want to boil, for example, potatoes, you will use a pot. It is a container that is deep, okay? It is quite deep, and it is made of silver. And these days, pots have handles as well. So we mainly use pots to boil things, to cook food that needs boiling. For example, potatoes, stews, okay? If you want to cook beef stew, then you use a pot because it's deep and you can put lots of water and cook or boil whatever food it is that you want to cook. The next word is knife. Now, we have already looked at knife, so I will move on to the next word, which is cup or a mug. Now, if you want to drink your tea, okay, you have cooked your tea and you want to drink it, you pour it inside a cup. It is a container that we use, okay? It is a container that we use to drink tea or coffee, okay? And it is deep and wide. Now, mug is a kind of cup that is wide at the top and it is a little bit deeper than a cup. It is deeper than a cup. The next word is kitchen scissors. Kitchen scissors. We use kitchen scissors to cut things into small pieces. If you want to cut anything up in the kitchen and you don't want to use your knife, then you can use your kitchen scissors. A tailor uses scissors that is meant for clothes to cut out pieces of fabric. But in the kitchen, we use a kitchen scissors. The next word is spoon. Now, we use a spoon to eat food or to stir sugar inside a cup. When you want to drink your tea, there are different types of spoons. We have a teaspoon, we have a tablespoon, but also we have big spoons, wooden spoons, for example, that we use to stir food while we're cooking it, okay? So there are different types of spoons. If you want to stir your tea, you use a teaspoon. If you want to eat, you use a tablespoon. If you want to eat dessert, you use a dessert spoon. If you want to stir your food while you're cooking it, you can use a wooden spoon. The next word is grater. Grater. Now, we use a grater when we want to cut carrots, for example, into very, very small pieces. We want to grate the carrots. We want the carrots to be in very, very tiny pieces. And we use the grater by rubbing. You move the grater up and down, and by so doing, you grate the vegetable that you want to grate. You can also use a grater for cheese. If you want the cheese to be in small pieces and you don't want to buy the cheese while it has already been grated, then you can get hold of your big chunk of cheese and grate it with a grater by moving it up and down the grater. The next word is kitchen scales. Kitchen scales. Now, we use kitchen scales to weigh things, foods in the kitchen. For example, if you want to bake a cake and you have been told to use 500 grams of wheat flour, then you're going to use your kitchen scales to weigh the flour to make sure that you use exactly 500 grams. So we use kitchen scales to weigh, to know the weight of the different foods that we are cooking when you're preparing a special meal that requires you to know the weights of the different foods that you are mixing together, to know exactly what the weight is of the different food products that you're mixing together. The next word is fork. Fork. Now, we use a fork, and it should actually be F-O-R-K, not L-K. F-O-R-K. Fork. We use a fork when you want to cut some pieces of food while you're eating. For example, when you're eating a piece of meat, you want to cut it up into small pieces. Then you use a fork. Okay? Now, the next word is kettle. Kettle. We use a kettle to heat up water. Okay? And some people use a kettle to boil water, like to cook tea. But usually anytime you need hot water to prepare your meal, you can simply put some cold water in your kettle, you turn it on and let it boil. So we use a kettle to boil water. The next word is blender. Blender. We use a blender when you want to make a kind of, for example, if you want to make a smoothie, okay? If you want to make a smoothie, then you use a blender. For example, you mix, in the blender, you mix all the different types of fruits, you turn it on, and you end up with a blender. Some people, before they prepare a soup, they prefer to blend all the different products like tomatoes, okay, and water. They put water in there, they put different types of vegetables, and then they blend them into a paste. So a blender looks a little bit like a big bottle, okay? A big bottle that is wide at the top, that we use to blend different types of food products. The next word is measuring jug. Measuring jug. We use a measuring jug to measure liquids when you're preparing certain meals. For example, if you want to bake a cake and you have been told to use 1 liter of milk. Now, to measure how much milk you need, you put the milk in the jug. You put the milk in a measuring jug. And the measuring jug has different measurements. 500 milliliters, 1 liter, and so on. The next word is chopping board. Chopping board. Now, when you want to cut up, when you want to slice something, like if you want to slice a piece of bread, then you lay your bread on top of the chopping board and then you begin slicing your bread with a bread knife. If you're cutting carrots into small pieces, you can put them on the chopping board, and with a knife you begin cutting them into small pieces. So we use a chopping board to chop different types of food products. If you want to cut meat into small pieces, then you put the lump of meat on the chopping board, and then you begin slicing or cutting the meat into small pieces. Now, the next word is dishwasher. Dishwasher. A dishwasher is the piece of equipment that we use to wash the plates, the cups, the knives, and so on. So once you have eaten your food and the dishes are very dirty, okay, instead of washing the dishes yourself, you open the dishwasher, you stack the dishwasher with all the dirty dishes, and then you turn it on, and the dishwasher cleans all the utensils for you. The next word is thermos flask. Thermos flask. Thermos flask. Now, we use a thermos flask to keep liquids hot. Okay? For example, if you have a baby and you want the baby to have warm milk the whole day, then you could boil your milk and put it inside the thermos flask, and it will remain hot. If you like soup and you want to make sure throughout the day you have hot soup, then you put the hot soup inside the thermos flask, and it remains hot the whole day. This is very useful, especially for people who are going to work and they want to make sure that they have something warm to drink throughout the day. It could be coffee. You want warm coffee to bring to work. Then you boil your coffee and pour it inside the thermos flask, and throughout the day your coffee remains warm. The next word is a glass. Glass. Now, we use a glass to drink water. Okay? We use a glass to drink water, or to drink juice, or to drink beer. Okay? So, when you want to drink beer or to drink water or to drink juice, then you're not going to put it in a cup, because we mainly use a cup for hot things like tea or coffee. You will instead use a glass. So we use a glass for cold liquids like juice, like beer, like water, and so on. The next one is baking tray. A baking tray is what we use to bake a cake. You want to bake a cake, so you mix your dough, and once it's ready, you get hold of a baking tray, and then you pour your cake mix onto the baking tray, and then you put the baking tray in the oven. You turn the oven on for a specific time, and then after that you get your baking tray outside the oven once it has cooked, and your cake is ready to eat. Okay, so a baking tray is what we use to bake a cake. The next word is mixing bowl. Mixing bowl. Now, when you want to prepare your cake, you put together all the different types of ingredients inside the bowl and you mix them. Okay, you put your flour, you put your milk, you put your eggs, and using a wooden spoon you mix all the products together. You mix all the ingredients together. So the bowl is wide, okay? It is wide and deep, and you use it to mix together different ingredients in the kitchen before you prepare whatever meal it is that you want to. The next word is colander strainer. Colander strainer. We use this to clean up vegetables that have already been cut into small pieces. Like, for example, when you buy cabbage, okay? When you buy cabbage, then, and you want to clean it up, then you put it inside the colander and you wash the cabbage with your strainer. Or let's say, for example, you have kale or spinach, okay? You use your colander strainer to clean your vegetables under the sink. It has little holes underneath, okay? And that ensures that as you wash your vegetables, the vegetables do not go through these little holes. Instead, it's the dirty water that goes through the little holes, and that's why we call it a strainer. The next word is sieve. Sieve. Now, we use a sieve to sieve tea, for example. I will explain. You put tea leaves inside your pan, and then you pour some water and you let it boil. Now, if you want to remove the tea leaves, then you use a sieve. So we use a sieve to strain different types of liquids. When there are certain pieces inside that particular liquid, like for example tea or coffee, okay, you want to remove the small pieces from that particular liquid, like tea or coffee, you use a sieve. A sieve helps you to strain, for example, the chunks of coffee or tea leaves from your tea or your coffee. The next word is can opener. Can opener. We use a can opener to open cans. Like, for example, you have bought a tin of, for example, tomatoes, okay? Or tomato paste. Or you have bought a tin of pineapples, for example. To open it, instead of using a knife, which can be very dangerous, you use a can opener. A can opener. It helps you to open the can or the tin, okay? You use your can opener to open the can, and then you can pour whatever food product that is in the can inside a glass or a bowl, okay, depending on what it is. The last word is masha. Masha. We use a masha to mash food products. Like, for example, you want mashed potatoes. So after you have boiled your potatoes, then to squash the potatoes into a paste, in other words, to mash them, you use a masher. Okay? You use a masher to press the cooked potatoes into a mash or into a paste. Okay? And that brings us to the end of our lesson. As usual, I'm going to read out the words for you. Plate, knife, bowl, cooker, vegetable peeler, microwave, garlic press, pan, pot, knife, cup, mug, kitchen scissors, spoon, grater, kitchen scales, fork, kettle, blender, measuring jug, chopping board, dishwasher, thermos flask, glass, baking tray, mixing bowl, colander strainer, sieve, can opener, masha. Now, if you found this lesson useful, if you think it has helped you to know more words to describe kitchen utensils, then please do me a favor, subscribe to the channel and give this video a thumbs up. Have you done that? Thank you, and see you in our next lesson. Bye bye.